weil wir uns ja die Pumpe ausleihen durften für die Demonstration bei Andrew, müssen wir die jetzt zurückbringen. I'm sure we can. The warp drive is not cavitating yet. This looks really good now.
Okay.
You want Joe here and me here, or how do we?
No, both of you on that
Both of you on that side? All right.
German is saying nice things.
Yeah.
I would like to welcome you to the bake sale.
Well,
okay.
We have quite a background story on the war theme.
We have many, yes, yeah.
Many meetings in war museums.
Welcome, guys, to Reef Tank version 2.0.
Yeah.
We're about a year and 8 months since the reboot. Tank's been, knock on wood, been doing well. I've been happy with the progress. Started with 3 Bangai cardinals. They've been breeding really wonderfully in the tank, which is great to see again. Corals are putting on size. I'm able to frag corals now within the tank and transplant them around, and to make the colonies look bigger.
You don't let them. That's one thing I think that's very interesting. That you don't let the colonies get as big as you. I mean, you always cut them down, prune them back, and then replant all the small pieces to make it look bigger, but not have it sticking out that much, right?
Yeah, kind of. I used to call it like bonsai reef keeping. By taking those fragments off the parent and transplanting them around it, you'll end up with what looks like a much larger colony in a shorter period of time. And we are a public aquarium, so we want things to look as good as possible every day. We got company coming every day.
Yeah.
Glass has got to be clean. You can't be like, it's a little dirty. Company's coming Sunday. No, company's coming every day. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are here. It's rebuilding the tank has been a good inspiration for me as well.
It's impressive. I mean, what you've reached in that short period of time, just amazing.
That's good to hear.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I mean, there's always problems when you run a tank like this.
Yes.
When was this tank started? That's like 18 years ago? 20 years
23 years ago.
23 years.
So it ran basically 21 years continuously. And then through a variety of biological and mechanical issues, it just really became the time to do a full hard reboot of the system.
I saw your talk on the conference that we attended. So fascinating. And I don't want to know how that smell was when.
Thankfully, it wasn't too bad. But
I can't believe it. I had the pump in the car, and that was already bad.
Oh, the pump you stole.
We've known each other now for quite a while. I mean, we've met at many conferences.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember like the first actor or whatever, but at least around 10 years ago.
Denver, I think.
Do you think 10?
That's pretty much 10 years ago.
A fair number.
Yeah, I've come here with the family. We've had vacation. We visited the aquarium. So often, not always, but often the relationship that we have on a professional basis then transfers, if people like each other and like to talk and like to spend time, that transfers also into a personal relationship, and we have that a lot. We try to visit all the public aquariums to listen to all the stuff that worries you, that you need to have solutions for problems, and that's where we try to come up with exactly those solutions that make your life easier, and that's the thing, right?
Right. And a lot of those great conversations at the conferences really take place after the lectures are done.
Oh yeah.
Where we're sitting around, I don't know, maybe having a few beers or 10, and the information really flows. And
not only the information,
through the years, for sure, just within the industry, you make friends, and that's like the great part of us choosing this hobby that we're passionate about is you meet like minds, and then certain people, and I consider Alex one of them, beyond just a professional and respectful, just good friend, and I've been to Alex's house, and he's put up with me and put me up at his place, and I've got to meet his lovely family and his friend. It goes much deeper than like here's my pump, plug it in, turn it on,
right,
let me know how it goes. So it's really exciting that the COVID thing, because that was a huge dry spell.
Ja. Wenn man das jetzt so beobachtet oder wenn ihr so zuguckt, deswegen wechsle ich gerade mal so ins Deutsche, es ist halt es ist für uns halt super wichtig. Wir brauchen natürlich von allen öffentlichen Aquarien oder von allen Kunden auch eine Rückkopplung. Bei manchen bekommt man nicht unbedingt die super ehrliche Rückkopplung, die man eigentlich bräuchte, um sein Produkt entsprechend anzupassen oder zu optimieren. Wenn man natürlich dann auch noch gute Freunde hat, die auch noch Kunden sind, das hilft natürlich, weil die sagen einem dann auch schon mal unter der Hand, also pass mal auf, das ist jetzt aber nicht so ordentlich, da könntet ihr mal irgendwie dies und das machen. Und das hören wir uns an. Und das macht uns besser und das freut halt auch den Kunden. Und deswegen ist so eine Beziehung natürlich einfach Gold wert.
Great. He just told you that everything is shit in your relationship.
I can only imagine what was said. So, but he says it with a smile.
We can post some pictures.
Huh? Oh, I still got the bar. Yes.
Well, whenever you're in New York or in the Long Island area, check out this place. It's really worth it. It's not only the aquarium; it's the whole exhibition center that is quite interesting. So. Visit Joe, visit all the people here that do an awesome job. You see penguins and people can dive outside. We've done that, our children have done that in a tank and have a lot of fun. So check this place out.
Yeah, it's an open invite. So just find me on Facebook, message me, just put coral or something in the title.
Right, yeah.
But we definitely
Joe Fish, coral, and then you'll find me.
Yeah, just happy to show behind the scenes and things that. So cool. Open invite.
We should mention the pump and how that has been.
Oh yes, so let's talk about
to the tank.
Yeah.
So I mean, I took the pump obviously away from you.
Yes.
Did you miss it?
I didn't sleep last night. I was so worried about my pump. Yes.
So I mean, you put it in a while ago, but sure not like very early. So after you put it in and then taking it out, or having me take it out actually and steal it, and then putting it back in, what's the difference? Like, what would be your judgment on what it adds, what doesn't add, what were your expectations when you put it in?
Right.
That would be really interesting.
Yeah. So where the pump location is now, I had made a vertical prop unit there that functioned off of half horsepower motor. That could move a fair amount of water, but the prop wasn't that great, and it just in its location when that pump is running at about maybe 20-25%. That's where my pump was.
Okay.
That's my ballpark estimate.
Yeah.
Maybe 30% at most. So yeah, but now that the corals have grown in larger, they definitely need more flow. As these corals grow, and thankfully they are growing at a pretty considerable rate right now, since I did reboot the tank, because everything went in as pretty much fragments, I can just turn the volume up. I can turn the flow up. So as these corals grow and they build bigger and bigger partitions within the system, and the luxury that I'm going to have right now with this pump is I need more, just like I need to increase the calcium and I need to increase magnesium, because the demand is there. The demand for flow is only going to increase. And what's great with this pump is now I can just keep cranking up the dial, and
we've tested it right now. I mean, just prior to us talking to each other, up to what was it, 85%?
Which was a record. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It looked pretty wild on the surface. From your expertise, what would you think? How much flow is being taken away if corals double in volume? Because I have a pretty good estimate on that as well from my tank.
Right.
I knew that when I started my first tank, the larger one.
But I thought this was about
liters.
me.
Oh yeah, it is.
Okay.
I'm just bringing in some information. So I had these two pumps running at like 30%.
Okay.
Corals grew, and 100 eventually was not enough anymore.
Right.
So that's the kind of demand, depending on the growth of the corals, they take away.
Yeah, I doubt it's linear.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think it would be more of one of those good old logarithmic scales of size of coral, decreased flow.
Yeah.
It's not so.
I mean, the coral, like a gorgonia, like that on the right.
Yeah, he's over 32 years old.
Wow. But that takes. I mean, what will happen if the coral on the inside does not get any water movement at all.
Correct.
It will
detritus
sick,
accumulate.
right?
Unwanted algae will be growing in there. So that's definitely a big part of either pruning it. Like you don't want to lose the scale of the piece, so you can prune the interiors.
Okay.
But then also, yes, just bump up that flow. You know.
Does that have to be a permanent thing, the flow? Like, do you always have to hammer the tank, or would you say it's enough that you like every once in a while just crank it up, change the flow a little bit, and then turn it back?
Historically, on this tank, it was I used to call it storming the tank. I would drop in another different prop unit. It was just made for using around the docks for the ice eaters to keep the ice from forming around the docks. And I would just plunk that in every once in a while and just leave that on for a couple hours. And I'd call it storming the tank, because creating that flow, kicking up those pockets of detritus, then turning it off and then letting the filters. So being able, especially with the controls on this pump, being able to have it flowing at a constant rate and then pulsing rate, like like the smaller, like Vortex and home hobby pumps where you're pulsing and changing flow and things like that. To be able to do it on this scale with the energy efficiency of this pump is tremendous. Just like the Carlson, like when that Carlson dumps, like you wouldn't want that all the time, but every 10 minutes that thing flushing things out. Some of the more robust, the acroport, like the Robusta and Abrotinoides, these really thick, massive acros.
You actually know the names?
Very few. Those are the two that I try to pretend I know. But they actually, like where everybody else is kind of growing away from that flow of the Carlson, they march into it.
Okay, so
they just like this is this all you got?
Okay.
Kind of thing. So between the amount of light those things need and want and the flow, they will grow into flow that all other corals are just kind of like, enough. So that's another thing to watch.
What about air bubbles? Is that, we know from the public aquariums that you want to have a high turbidity, to be able to see deep into the tank.
Right.
Sometimes you have issues with cavitation or with, air being drawn into the pump.
Right.
So did you have that with ours as well? Or is that is it deep enough, or what would you say?
I mean, we had that at 85%, and that pump's not even.
Well, I didn't hear it, but I'm biased.
Yeah. So there was no prop cavitation, and there was also no surface, like it wasn't vortexing, and it's only a foot below the surface, and it's cranking. If we was cranking at 85%,
which amazes even myself, I must say. I mean, we had air in the tank because of the water just gushing. On top,
the surface disturbance, and the Carlson is going to dump some air in every 10 minutes, and that's fine. But no, zero cavitation, no vortexing from the surface, which even the vertical prop unit that I made would vortex. So the surface area of the pump, I guess, is minimizing that vortex.
Well, that's what we try to do in the engineering, but it's always different, and some tanks are different than others. You sometimes have different saturation levels. So the water tends to degas easier, and some pumps just tend to push out more gas than the others. So,
like my vertical prop unit, the propeller I was using was off of one of these de-icers for that. So it was good. But like once you went over 60% on my motor, it cavitated.
Okay.
Just because it wasn't they didn't need it that well designed. It's just moving water around a dock. A huge component of this rebuild is that pump and the ability to go for another 20 years. I'll be 80, 79 in another 20 years. So
awesome, yeah.
But what you can also see is on the you see so this is from the Carlson, but it's actually fighting the flow of the pump. Now what's cool?
I didn't notice that before.
So what's cool about that though is then you have this mixing of huge currents of water, and then you're getting these eddies and these gyres of water spinning off, right?
Yeah. Now you see it's transferring to the other direction on the top.
Right. So so it's still getting through, but I've noticed that it definitely has shortened the range of the Carlson. But in doing so, it's these bodies of water just coming together, mixing. And like the sea swirls are cutting through, and they're creating those eddies of. So it's again, it's not that solid, just screaming.
It's not a static water movement. It's really.
It's getting chopped up and moved around, but you still on a big tank. You want that throw. You want it to be able. You want the floater to have that reach. Like if it's only pulsing too quickly, like you know,
doesn't help. Yeah,
it's not going to help anything. So
no, it looks
lots
fantastic.
of tweaking and thanks. To me, it still looks in its infancy, and I
you know where you can go. You've done that before.
Done it
so
before.
it just takes a little while.
Doing it again.
A little bit of patience, as we all know. It always takes patience being a reefing aquarist. So yeah, it was a pleasure,
buddy. Looking forward to.
Stay safe.
Always.
Talk to you soon.
Absolutely. All right, now get the hell out of here, 'cause I got to get to work.